Where'd you get this?
On the shelf.
If it's in a word or it's in a look, you can't get rid of the Babadook. A rumbling sound, then 3 sharp knocks. That's when you'll know that he's around. You'll see him if you look.
Babadook, dook, dook.
This is what he wears on top. He's funny, don't you think? See him in your room at night.
Mom, does it hurt the boy? Mom, does it live under the bed? Mom? Mommy! Mommy!
What's up, Universe, and welcome back to the web's first must-see comic and nerd culture show. Welcome to Comic Universe, guys. I'm your host, as always, C-Dubs, and we are continuing the 31-day Halloween horror movie challenge. I'm trying to catch up. Again, I've watched a horror movie every day this month. Just haven't had the time to make enough recordings for them all. Plus, with a couple of other ideas that we've been working on, it's just been hectic. All right, so today's review, as you could tell by the intro, is the Babadook. This one was, I believe it was Green Arrow Hunter that suggested us to watch and review it for the 31-day Halloween horror movie challenge. I did see it prior to this. I saw it when it first came out originally, and I loved it then. I've seen it since then, and I loved it that time, and I loved it again just as much as I did the very first time I saw it. This is a 2014 Australian movie brought into us by a first-time director in Jennifer Kent. For this being her first movie out of the gate, this is an absolute home run. I think this is an instant horror movie classic. There were some things about it some people don't like my wife. I will get into that in a little bit, but overall, I loved almost every single minute of it, minus the damn big roaches. I hate big roaches. Palmetto bugs, they don't work for me. This is starring Ellie Davis as Amelia and Noah Wiseman as Samuel. We basically follow this this broken family, if you will, the mother and son. On the day of his birth, as they were traveling to the hospital, her and her husband got into an accident, and her husband died. So basically, this whole movie is based around the idea of her not being able to let go of the tragic death of her husband, if you will, Samuel's father. And this in turn has caused her to suppress a lot of her feelings, and she has a lot of built-up resentment and hatred towards her son. So she's very cold and very distant from him, and he's about 7 years old, or he's about to turn 7, if you will. And he's, essentially been raised, so he's a little off. He comes across as if he may have some slight learning disabilities, but it's basically all comes down to emotional disabilities, if you will. Just, being neglected and not loved and nurtured, if you will, as much as most kids would be, in that type of dynamic, if you will. He's outward spoken, and you see he's dealing with a lot of trauma as well, and stress him, basically. He knows that there's something wrong, and he's not stupid. Like a lot of us in society like to think kids as being dumb just because they're not as experienced as we are. But come on, let's all be honest. You remember when you were a kid, you were a lot smarter than your parents gave you credit for, and it's the same situation here. He is somewhat of a loner, and he just wants to protect his mom from whatever's hurting her. So throughout the movie, he builds these contraptions, if you will. Not quite to the level of Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone, but he builds some booby traps, and he has this backpack that shoots a baseball out at you, and he has a little crossbow that he kind of designed with rubber bands and whatnot, and he wants to basically protect his mother from whatever's ailing him. And throughout the movie, they come across this mysterious book, as you saw in the intro, that gives you the Babadook, if you will. And it's just an allegory of pushing down your emotions causes this creature to manifest and wreak havoc on this poor family. And this movie's really, really unique in its atmosphere. It comes across as at times as stale, but it's more of an allegory of how empty she feels and just meh because of the whole situation that she is in. And it comes across in the film, and it's when you look at it in that perspective, it's absolutely genius. The setting, the atmosphere, the music, all of it is amazing. You don't get these beyond stupid jump scares for the sake of jump scares. You know, the loud noise and because the bird hit the glass or something like that. All the scares that come, they're effective, they're heightened, it's intense. It's kind of built up anxiety essentially, which is another thing the doctor says that her son is suffering from. But you get this anxiety because you see what she sees, or you know what's in the room, or there's times where she's covering her head with a blanket, and you just know it's in the room with her, and it's just really creepy and eerie. The Babadook's design is one of like the 1930s, you know, around when the dawning of film, and we also see a movie playing. I forget the movie's name in the background of this movie a lot, and he actually fits perfectly within that film, and it seems to come across as somewhat of a silent film, if you will. And he's just absolutely terrifying. Even, you know, he's majority of him is black, but he just looks like a black and white character, even in the color atmosphere, you know, in the real world, if you will. He just seems like he's just so out of place, if you will. And it's just overall a really good aesthetic. Now, Amelia Ellie Davis, honestly, she could have won an Oscar with her performance here. She was absolutely amazing. Every bit as good as the mother in Hereditary, in 2018's Hereditary. If you've seen that, and I've raved about that movie, and just the sheer acting alone of the mother, same thing here. It's just on point. And even the kid is designed to be really annoying, and you to really not like this kid in the beginning. Just really loud, obnoxious, screams a lot. He has a few temper tantrums. He actually goes into like a convulsing seizure at some point in time. And that's around the time when you start kind of realizing that maybe there's something more to this kid than him just being a brat, if you will. And when you first go into it, you're just kind of, this poor lady, she lost her husband, and now she's got this really hard to handle kid. And you start feeling for her, but halfway through the movie, the roles reverse, and you realize, look, it's a kid. You can't blame the kid for the way he is. It's raised. This was raised this way. You know, he can't help it. And you know, she should have been the mother and stepped up. And then you realize that she's compressing all this feeling, and it just, the movie does a complete 360-degree turn where you were on the side of the kid, you're batting with the kid, you got the kid's back, and the mom, you realize, is the problem here. And especially once the Babadook, you know, gets involved and starts toying with the mom and causing her to do some things that she wouldn't be normally doing. But guys, if you have not seen this movie, I urge you, get out there, check this film out. It's absolutely an instant classic. One I'll be watching for many years to come and sharing with many people that have never seen it. Now, my wife, she just never could get past the kid and how annoying he was. It just drove her nuts. And some people have a hard time with children actors, but I think the kid did amazing for what he was asked to do. Like, I can't even think of a kid who could have done any better, to be honest. And in closing, the Rotten Tomato score is a fresh 98%. The audience rating is 72%. Metacritic's got this at an 86, and the user is at 8.3. IMDb with a 6.8. And me, myself, and I give this a solid 5 out of 5 stars, especially in terms of horror movie. Absolute, again, instant classic universe. So Universe, go ahead and check this movie out if you haven't already. Let us know in the comments below any other movies we should throw on the list. We got a good couple of days left. I have movies that I want to watch, but you know, again, if you guys suggest something, I'll definitely flip it and put that in its place, if you will. And guys, don't forget to click that notification bell, and we'll be coming more with more content down the pipeline. And guys, thank you so much for love and support. And until next time, I'll see you in the universe. Peace.